Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful June 15th, 2021. Come at the Crusty podcast, episode 133. Look, Ma, no masks, episode 133. All that and more coming up in the podcast. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 133, Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and welcome to the newish format so far. Yes, I did a poll there a few weeks back in regards to, and I asked all my fans and friends and family and all that good stuff, would you like to see me on video as well as hear my mug and my radio mug as I do my podcast here for you all. So results are in, and here we go. It's a work in progress, needless to say, and listener and viewer discretion is advised. I sometimes do fancy gestures, and I say a lot of bad words. So listener discretion and viewer discretion is advised. And this is not meant for children. Anyway, carrying on. Look, Ma, no mask, as the title said. Recently just had the G7 summit and all this good stuff. And, well, let's see. Justin Trudeau is on his way back to Canada as we speak right now on this beautiful evening. Now, I wonder if he's going to quarantine in a hotel or not. Interesting. I wonder if he's going to take the quarantine that he ever so elegantly put it there a few months back in regards to keeping people locked up without the spread. Now, I wonder if he's going to have some staff members do it for him, maybe appoint a cabinet minister in the process of doing it. I don't know, but you tell me. Okay, is he going to have the same perks and privileges as the rest of Canada's international travelers have had? You know, being escorted out of the 4 key airports and put into a hotel room and given lackluster accommodations, lackluster food, and treated like absolute garbage by some qualified and unqualified security guards. I wonder, is that good for Justin? Is that good for Sock Boy? Is that good for Sock Puppet? Who knows? He'll find his way to get out of it, of course. He'll probably go back to his cottage and have a nice Bordeaux and put his feet up and put on his favorite robe and talk about his feelings or something. Anyhow, that's the thing. Also in news today, too, the Ontario government has awarded or giving $10 million to the First Nations and survivors of residential schooling in regards to investigating what happened. Now, personally, I think that's a good thing. I think all governments and all churches should take real consideration, and in fact, beyond consideration, ladies and gentlemen, okay, beyond consideration in looking into this. Now, regards to the 215 bodies, apparently the ground radar found in Kamloops, to another 106, I believe, that were found in Manitoba. Okay, every residential school, as far as I'm concerned, should be investigated under the highest scrutiny of the law and to those who are responsible. Okay, all those who are responsible for what happened at that time, it doesn't matter if it dates back to the 1860s or not, okay? But we can't blame the 1860s anymore. We can't keep blaming old political figures. We got to start blaming who's alive now and who's responsible for that. I'm a firm believer in truth and reconciliation, and I've said that before numerous times in the podcast, okay? Treat each other like adults. Treat each other well. Why is that such an issue? Why is that such a problem here? Because the government likes to divide. Really, the government likes to divide. So, but then another thing too, it's like, the Ontario government is going to pledge $10 million, but where's the Vatican involved in all this? Where's the Vatican and where's the Anglican Church for that matter too, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. Anglican, Presbyterian, United, every church that had its hand in that terrible residential schooling program. Okay, where are they? Now, there have been some bishops and some archdioceses who weighed in and said some wonderful things, but I'd like to hear more of the Vatican. I'd like to hear more what they have to say and what are they going to do about it, okay? And that's the thing. And I think the time is now to really get off our high horses and to really look at it for what it is. It was a genocide. It was assimilation. And some of those little kids died. For what? Now, I'm not going to sit here and toot the horn of virtue and jump on the bandwagon like some of our leaders have. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and demand copious amounts of cash. But in the name of all Canadian people, we got to look at this and look after it well and do what we can to make it right. Okay. All right. All this money has come and gone to the First Nations, and yet how much of it has really helped? Okay. Where's the incentive for people to live freely? Okay. I'd say abolish the Indian Act and abolish the whole thing and start treating people like people again. It's that fucking simple. Okay. It's that bloody simple. But it just gets ridiculous after a while when you constantly hear all this stuff that's coming to surface and coming to conclusion, and we're not finding the truth. We're not finding the answers anymore. But like I said, like the title says, look, Ma, no mask, right? When you watch the G7 summit and you watch all those leaders sit up there and talk about all these wonderful things about climate change and beautiful fun things and all this great magic utopia, we all know they're full of shit. Okay? We all know they're full of shit. How can you sit there and tell me that Canada is doing such a wonderful thing when it comes to climate change? Okay? Gas is going up another 4.5 cents, apparently, right? Another carbon tax or another cash grab or another gesture to stick it up, what? For whom? Us, okay? Up the Canadian taxpayers' butts yet again. And there's a lot of speculation out there, too, on how this is going to help the environment. When the first thing that's going to help the environment is taking more money from us, okay? So they know this. So again, look, Ma, no mask. Look, Ma, no common sense. Look, Ma, we just don't really care about the Canadian people. And they don't, right? And when you watch the footage, okay, and I suggest you, my viewers and listeners out there, look at the footage of the G7. How they all got together and fist pumped and elbow pumped and all this stuff. And it was really only Justin that wore the mask for the initial photo. There's one of him with the mask on and with it off. And, I just... It's difficult to try to keep a straight face with this garbage, because every time I turn around, there's always something that Justin just is not doing. Our beloved Prime Minister still has no goddamn grip on reality.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And please consider joining me on Supercast as well, ladies and gentlemen. I'm working on getting a logo up here for everybody to follow, but follow the links in my description. Join me on Supercast. You can get the Crusty Canuck podcast audio only, censorship free, $5 a month. So please consider joining me there. It's a Canadian-based company helping out Canadian podcasters such as myself. And for $5 a month, join my page. There'll be perks and all that in the future, but $5 a month gets you all of my monthly episodes. Censorship free. So join Supercast today. Links to me in the description. Anyway, carrying on, more of this. Look, Ma, no mask. Look, Ma, no hands. Look, Ma, no common sense. Right? In further news today, too, and this is coming from more of the story here on the G7 mask proxy. This comes from the National Post, and I'll leave links in the description for you too, but I'll just give you a brief summary on that. This is from Matt Gurney at the National Post. Justin's G7 mask hypocrisy is a symptom of deeper rot in our political system, of course. So, check out the hypocrisy is a saying I've heard lots since photos emerged of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau taking his mask on and off like a costume last week at G7 summit in the United Kingdom. Yes, for the most part, it was apparent that the Prime Minister was not wearing a mask during events with the other leaders, but for certain pictures, he made a point of being masked. This echoed the recent choice by Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, the pint-sized you-know-what, at the meeting of G7 financial ministers to behave similarly, unmasked at the event, but carefully masked off for official photos. That's right. We got to look sexy for all our, constituents and taxpayers alike. Twats. But the photos didn't really show hypocrisy. They showed a typical day in the life of Canada's image-obsessed Liberal government, which itself a part of a political culture that's thoroughly memified. Peace, order, and good government should be replaced by peace, order, and good social metrics. That seems to be the point these days, ahead of anything else. The Liberals are particularly egregious offenders. A government that promised transparency by default has instead offered up a degree of message control and centralization that would have met with approval, if not admiration, for former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, PMO, which has a den of control freak boogeymen fit to ruin a peaceful slumber of any Liberal. The Liberals normally put a bit more effort into being cheerful in their messaging than the Harper Conservatives ever bothered to. But it's the same policy, just the smiley face sticker slapped on it. There's no one message from the PMO that will be echoed and amplified aggressively on social media. The masks of the G7 aren't new or even particularly noteworthy, except for the part of this broader pattern. Okay, the most you can say about Freeland and Trudeau putting masks on for the snaps but taking them off for the schmoozing is that it's an unusually stark example of government that has never been quite as advertised. And we know that, ladies and gentlemen. What has the Liberal government done for you? Okay, either give you the CERB and the CEPA payments, which was good because it was beneficial. People needed that coin. But then people are being reliant on that coin too. And it's also more facts of people taking advantage of the CERB that never needed it. So I'll save that for another story, okay? So, pointing out their failure to live up to their self-styled conception as feminists, reconciliation champions, and advocates for transparency requires at least some familiarity with the substance of the issues where the Liberals talk the talk while skipping the walk. Well, exactly. They talk a big show, but they never lace up and get in the corners and do the proper fur checking. Now, I have mentioned that before, ladies and gentlemen. I've been emotional, I've been angry, and I've been hurt. But I'm being realistic here, too. Okay? We all see the dog and pony show. We all realize that it has to be, something of a sales pitch. But enough is enough. For those of us who are in our late 30s and 40s, I think we know better. And there's a movement coming, trust me. Anyhow, the masks sort of distill that down to the refreshingly brief photo essay. Masks on when anyone's watching, masks off when it's time to get back to the real selves. Anyone who's able to muster any residual outrage over this simply has great reserves of anger on hand that is humble to describe. Years of, okay, sorry. The story got cut off there, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. Anyway, I'll summarize this. It's basic contradiction. Okay, here are these leaders who are telling us to spend more money on this, take more money, borrow more money, keep spending money outside of Canada, and now they're traveling across the ocean, telling us again what we have to do, what we have to be, and yet they don't set that simple example. Okay, it's that simple. They don't set that simple example. Okay, so everything that I was taught as a leader in the military is basically gone in one ear and out the other, according to them. Okay, the simple principle of achieving professional competence. Do they have it based on this story from the National Post? I'll leave links in my description as always, ladies and gentlemen. You decide. Okay. Fairness demands it noted that it is not uniquely a Liberal issue. Far from it. The term used above, memified, is a riff off something I wrote in Maclean's in 2019. This from the writer here. I know that federal Liberals have a habit of using their cabinet ministers and MPs as Twitter-based talking point delivery systems. Of course, that hasn't changed. But that column also noted Conservatives would gleefully play the same game whenever it was convenient. So, see, that's the thing, though. When I look at this, when I look at the Conservatives and the Liberals, they're doing the same thing. One's a bit lighter, one's a bit bluer, one's a bit red, one's more blue. Okay, and I'm not seeing the same thing. Now, I'm happy that the opposition in Parliament, i.e. Pierre Poilievre, okay, is standing up for the economics of this country. Great. I think the man's brilliant. I tried to get him on my show a couple times, but needless to say, we got to stop worrying about this divide and who's Liberal, who's Conservative. Who wants democracy and who doesn't? Okay, that's what it comes down to. Like I said, links will be in the description for you guys to follow, right? And think for yourselves, make up your own mind.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And as a reminder, too, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, and share this all around, all over your social media platforms. You tell two friends, they tell two friends, and so on and so on. Help us independent lads get the word out there and other podcasters alike. And we're carrying on again. Look, Ma, no mask, episode 133. And another story, too. This is from CBC. Now, I don't usually use a lot of CBC material, probably because I just find Rosemary Barton a real hypocrite. But anyway, this is a story that came from the CBC. This was come about an hour ago, actually. So Conservatives calling Trudeau to fire defense minister over sexual misconduct crisis, right? Even that's loomering, too. That loomering little thing where, some senior officers did some very, very bad things back in the 2000s and 2010s. Anyway, the Conservatives are calling on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to fire Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan, arguing he lost the confidence of the armed forces over the military's sexual misconduct crisis. During a heated exchange in question period today, Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole accused Sajjan of mishandling the sexual misconduct crisis on a number of occasions over the past 6 years. We know. O'Toole said Sajjan had failed to get the problem under control by fully implementing the recommendations in a landmark report released in 2015. Interesting. O'Toole said if Sajjan respects the institution he once served in uniform, he'll do the honorable thing and resign. If he doesn't, he said, Trudeau should step in. Yeah, we've seen how Justin likes to step in. How do you like my thoughts, everybody? Yeah, exactly. The Canadian Armed Forces is literally falling apart before our eyes, said O'Toole. And when the Prime Minister fires incompetent minister, Sajjan said he wouldn't take advice from Conservatives on military matters because O'Toole's party cut the military budget while in government. Really? Now, they didn't add much, but I was serving at that time, and they had better plans in the works to get things done rather than the libtards did, okay? They had better plans when it come to our aircraft and procurement boards and procedures, and they're going to set the money aside for it. Now, they're not perfect, I agree, but in the same sense, the years I served, I think the Conservatives did a hell of a lot more for our troops than the Liberals ever did. That's just my opinion. Anyway, I carry on. So we know we'd have a lot more work to do to make sure we create inclusive environment in the Canadian Forces, and we will get it done, Sargent said. Yeah, this call for Sargent's resignation comes a day after two bombshell developments. The military's second in command, Lieutenant General Mike Rouleau, announced his resignation this week after news broke he played golf earlier this month with former Chief of Defense Staff Jonathan Vance, who was under investigation over an accusation of sexual misconduct. Of course, Vance denies the accusation, even though his lover confessed to it and having a couple of children with him. Oh my, sounds like a really good time. Needless to say, Major General Danny Fortin also filed a legal challenge on Monday, claiming the decision to publicly terminate his secondment last month as the head of Canada's vaccine rollout was driven by political meddling by Sajjan, among others. Fortin was removed from the vaccine rollout mid-May, just days before the Canadian Forces National Investigation Service referred a sexual misconduct investigation to the Quebec Prosecution Service to decide whether criminal charges should be laid. Fortin denies the sexual misconduct claim. I did an episode that before, if you look back at previous episodes. Apparently, when he was a freshman at RMC, he exposed his junk to somebody. That's the story we got. Now, I don't know about you, but I was 18 or 19, 20, those college years. I shook my junk at some people. And anyway, I'm not going to bother getting into the other details. Anyhow, in a review of CBC's News Power and Politics, retired Lieutenant General Guy Thibault, former Vice Chief of Defense Staff, said the current sexual misconduct crisis is a dark period for the Canadian Armed Forces. He compared it to the Somalia scandal of the 1990s. I don't think there's the same thing, but that's just my opinion. Thibault told Power and Politics guest host David Common the hurt suffered by military members due to sexual misconduct is horrific. And yes, I agree to that. Okay. What gets me is this whole misconduct thing is not just idle chit chat or something that happened at a bar or at a party. This is something over a period of years involving senior officers. And personally, let's sort the fuck out. But then again, I've never been a big fan of Harjit Sajjan to begin with, because here's the guy that pushed the whole, let's replace our old F-18s with older F-18s for the sake of spare parts, because it's excellent defense procurement and it's a great thing. Yeah. Just to quote, him, right? Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm not going to read any more of this story. This is just disturbing to my core, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, carrying on again with more of this garbage. So we have it. The G7 has come and gone. Of course, Justin made a point of saying how he's going to help out with his NATO commitments and everything. But we all know how that works out, too. There were Chinese troops a couple of years ago that were training in Canada, in Petawawa. And, of course, Justin was upset that. And I'll leave links to that story as well. It's also one of my other episodes, the Crusty podcast as well. But I just found the whole G7 thing a real joke, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? See, that's what gets me is that I don't see any real progress with what they did, what they're discussing. And I don't really care if it was Joe Biden there or Boris Johnson was there or Angela Merkel from Germany. I really don't care. Macron, who got slapped the other day. That was an interesting video too. I had enough of your bullshit, you crazy guy. Smack upside the head. Oh, parlez-vous. So that was kind of funny seeing that. I don't know what the story was. I never read the story about what happened there, but I can see where that Frenchman was coming from. Not really happy with the whole woke agendas and stuff too. And that's what gets me too, because we have a bunch of politicians and leaders in this country who are keep promoting this whole woke mandate and this whole diversity mandate, inclusion mandate, and all that. And I'm not seeing any real progress here. Okay. Like I've said again before, ladies and gentlemen, like I say this all the time. I'm sound like a broken record. I understand. But in the same sense, I'm more or less compelled to reemphasize the fact that the majority of Canadians were not raised in racist households. Okay. Doesn't matter if you're from Ontario or Quebec or New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, Newfoundland, Labrador, Nunavut, Northwest Territories, Inuvik, Yukon, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, okay, Pelee Island. I can honestly say the majority of Canadians, we were not raised with that bigotry as we're told to by, Jagmeet Singh and the Rachel Notleys out there and the Justin Trudeau's and, of course, his liberal follies. His cabinet ministers basically picked on gender and identity rather than actual qualifications. Okay. There is a prejudice in our society. There is. Okay. It's a prejudice against free thought and critical thinking. There's a prejudice against members of our military. There's a prejudice against seniors. Okay. It's not a racial divide. There is a genuine prejudice. I personally feel there is still a genuine government prejudice towards the First Nations in getting things done. Okay. Now I've said before, let's abolish the Indian Act. Let's abolish it altogether. Let's start to treat people like people. Doesn't matter what color you are. All right. And regardless of how imperfect parenting is or how it was at one time or not, my parents instilled the simple values in me. You judge people based on their action or actions or their lack of them, not the color of their skin, not their gender or how they identify or how they feel, or whether they're like raspberry rattlers or actual lager ales. I'll leave that for another episode. But you catch my point. Okay. Now, enough is enough with this division. Okay. And another thing I got to say too, and I said this before in the last episode, ladies and gentlemen, in my audio episode, the Conservative Party has done its best in regards to campaigning, getting things done. But if anybody in the Conservative Party is listening right now, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I don't care if you're from Vancouver. I don't care if you work out of Calgary. I don't care if you work out of Winnipeg, Northern Ontario. Stop fucking calling me. Okay? 7 times you guys have called my house asking for a donation. And I have said to every one of you politely, right, with professionalism and dignity and all this good stuff, that I am no longer a member of the Conservative Party. Okay. I no longer represent that brand anymore. I've been out of it for the better part of 2 years now. Okay. I'm not with it. I joined the Veterans Coalition Party and I made sure that, and I canceled my membership. Right. I got documents around here somewhere proving it, but needless to say, I have done it. So if anybody in the Conservative Party is watching this podcast and listening or watching, okay, I'm done with you. All right. I'm not a member anymore. So please stop calling me for donations. Now, I will thank a couple individuals there last year and this year, early springtime, that have called and asked about our welfare. I am fucking still tickled pink by that. That was great. That was honest of you. That was dignified. That was very professional. And it proved to be very, very courteous. Okay. And I did appreciate that call. And I thank you for calling me, asking me about my welfare and my wife's welfare at the same time. That was fantastic. Well done. Okay. But I'm not part of your party. And if they call a federal election this August, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to be running against the guy in this area. Okay. And I've got my debate notes and I've got everything written down and I've rehearsed this. Right? And I'll be working on the campaign trail when we get the thumbs up to get out there and campaign. Okay. So that being said, Anybody who's listening right now from the Conservative Party who's in charge of calling people, asking for donations, stop calling me. Okay? I'm serious. Stop calling me. And that goes for every other party too, minus the Veterans Coalition Party, of course. Right? And I'll leave links in the description for you guys to follow. Look up the Veterans Coalition Party yourselves. Okay? The Veterans Coalition Party was put together for the sake of people having a choice rather than the usual three dynamics, the NDP, the Conservatives, and the Liberals alike. The Veterans Coalition Party stands for other things. Very libertarian, very liberal, and in some cases conservative based too. But you're not just dealing with veterans. You're dealing with ex-first responders, present first responders, some police officers, some doctors, some legal people, and just blue-collar people alike. Okay? It's the blue-collar attitude, ladies and gentlemen, that this country needs as far as I'm concerned. It has nothing to do with what culture you're from or what color your skin is or how you identify. It's a matter of having the can-do attitude. Okay? We need to get blue-collar ethics back into our political scheme again. Because when you look at this picture, right, what do you see? Okay? You see this guy here, Justin Trudeau, holding a sucker. Well, I put that up there himself. Right? Thinking he's entitled to magical things. Boris Johnson can't tell whether he's coming or going. We know Uncle Joe here. Well, Uncle Joe that can't. Well, that's his thing. And Macron there. I guess he's married to his former nanny or something. I don't know what the story is with that, but that's none of my concern. And there's Miss Miracle up there who thinks we're not, no one's committing crimes in Germany. Yeah. Anyway, needless to say, it makes you think. Okay. These are people representing Canadian democracy. Justin Trudeau and his party represent Canadian democracy. And like I did the article I just read to you in regards to the whole mask charade and the defense charade, these are people that have put us into debt. These are people that have given our resources and our money away, just like candy to a baby. Here you go, here you go, here you go. Right? They don't care about our natural resources getting developed and brought to market. They don't care about our markets. They don't care about our progress. They don't care about Canadian progress. They care about their bottom lines, looking after their friends and their little groupies and their little lobbyists alike. They don't want us to have guns because they're bad, and yet they'll give a free pass to people who acquire illegal firearms and do bad things. Okay? And every provincial government and federal government alike has turned around and okayed the release of certain criminals because of the COVID scare, right? In the name of safety. Gives you something to think about now, doesn't it? Something to really ponder. Who's calling the shots for this country? Who's really looking out for the little guy, right? And it's a little guy and gals. It's a little people like myself, like yourself, my beautiful, wonderful audience out there who work for a living or try to work for a living, try to get ahead and constantly ups the chuff. You know what I mean? Up the chuff all the time. And for what? For progress, for the environment. Oh my goodness, we're going to save the world by taking more money from you. Yes, we got this plan. They've never said what their green plan is. They just more or less keep saying, hey, look, Ma, no masks. Right? That's simple. No, that's simple. Look, Ma, no masks. Right? I really don't know what else to say other than it's a contradiction. But I'd like to say, too, that you all have a choice, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the VCP. And there's a link at the bottom there for you guys to follow. Just type in VCP in your address bar and you'll find the link and just read along. It's some great stories. Very fair, very realistic, very honest, and very open. And it's damn right democratic, too. So think about the Veterans Coalition Party today, too. Right? Think about the Veterans Coalition Party when it comes to an election, if they call it. And if you're not sure, hey, ask me. Right? Look at Facebook, too, for the Veterans Coalition Party. It's headed by a man by the name of Randy Joy. He's the leader. He's the great know-it-all when it comes to this stuff. Right? Or you can ask me to find whatever answer to whatever question you have, too. So please consider looking into the Veterans Coalition Party, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, carrying on again, too, with more of this. Look, Ma, no mask. This whole privilege thing and this whole issue with our First Nations and this whole issue with racism in this country. It's a joke. Okay? It's not a joke about the First Nations. No. But this whole racial bigotry they keep promoting, that's a joke, too. And they're only just doing it to win virtue and to win horns and hear themselves speak in echo chambers, right? When you guys watch a person like Yagmeet Singh talk about masks. And if I'm a white nationalist, yeah, here he is, drives a BMW to work every day, right? Relies on Canadian fuel and gas to make sure his Beamer's working. And he's the first one to point a finger at somebody who doesn't wear a mask. Yeah, how many masks does he wear on a daily basis? You know, I'm not going to harp about that picture of him hugging a compatriot, whatever, but you catch my point. And it's just, it's getting more and more disingenuous every day when these people talk. And now to my friends here in Alberta who have issues with Mr. Kenny, yes, he is a hypocrite. He is. You know, I'm disappointed in what he was saying too, because he was going to pull us out of the whole Motley Notley thing, and he's not doing such a great job. You know? But get this though, there's a lottery here in Alberta now, which means that if you get yourself a jab and a second jab, you get entered in a draw to win $1 million. $1 million. Wow. What kind of incentive is that? Right? I can understand if you're going to a foreign nation that has typhoid and diphtheria and polio, it's good to get those shots. You know, it's good to get the shots against poison water and diarrhea and all that nasty stuff. Right? But I don't see anybody giving us $1 million for doing that. So it puts things in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, when they have to run these lotteries. Now, we made a joke about this about 6 months ago when our friends in the States were giving away donuts and fast food and little ticket items for getting your jab. You know, now they're bringing up lotteries. So there are people that are hopeful. And hey, I don't care if you get the jab or not. I'm not. And I don't care if about winning $1 million or not. I'd rather get $1 million the old-fashioned way by earning it. That's just me, honestly. Like, it's just I'll leave links about the lottery too in the description for you guys to analyze, to submit for your approval, so you can decide for yourselves how ludicrous and how ridiculous that really is. Okay, you know, we had problems getting the vaccines to Canada, and we had problems getting the vaccines rolled out. Now all of a sudden, there's $3 million in the province of Alberta, or an extra few $1 million in the province of Manitoba or Ontario, maybe if they have a lottery, to roll out the vaccine. Kind of like the old Club Z adverts from Zellers. Remember that? You know, the more you purchase, the more points you'll get, more jabs you'll get. You get yourself $1 million. Where's my inner Dr. Evil? Yes, $1 million.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, and carrying on, ladies and gentlemen, please consider Supercast as well, too. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe all over your social media platforms. I'm Crusty Canuck, and this is episode 133. Look, Ma, no masks. Yeah, exactly. Look, Ma, no masks. Hey, fun stuff, eh? So obviously, it's a contradiction. It's a bunch of hypocrites, and they really don't care about our welfare. So that's what I'm saying. Summer's here, ladies and gentlemen. Summer's here, so all the more reasons for us to go outside and fight the good fight and to play. Right? You heard it from me. I want people to go outside and look around and play again. I want people to do things that are good for them. Okay? Now, they're lifting some restrictions. I get it. Right? And while there are certain powers that be that are still harping about what happened in London, Ontario, which is still a devastating thing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sit here and condone anything like that. Okay, what happened was wrong, but there's still a lot of facts and figures out there that are not being presented to us. Okay, and I'll say once again how shameful it was for these political leaders to sit there and just chalk it up to racism and bigotry when we still don't know the facts about what this Nathan guy was doing. You know, even though there are documentation that proves that he was quite the angry young man, and not about Muslim faith or Christian faith or any faith. Just life didn't give him that much of an opportunity. So there's more on that, and I'll keep you updated too in the next episode in regards to that man's strife and his heinous fucking crime. But while that crime was going on, there's also pastors in this province that are being arrested too. You know, there's pastors that have been arrested and hauled off to jail over health violations because they decide to open up their church. Okay, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not Jewish. You can call me an atheist. You can call me agnostic. That's fine. Okay. But the country I fought for included everyone to preach their gospel, regardless of faith, regardless of color or creed or sexual orientation. It does not bother me. What bothers me, though, when it's okay for this group to do this, take a knee at BLM marches, riot in the streets, protest Israel and Palestine. And yet when people are doing freedom marches in this country, waving the Canadian flag, there's tickets, there's fines, there's tickets, there's fines, and then there's arrests 3 or 4 days later. So you can see the contradiction there. And you can see why a lot of Western Canadians are really concerned and bummed out over that bullshit. So there'll be more to follow on that too, ladies and gentlemen. Right? There'll be more to follow when it comes to that. But I'm trying to keep a level head here and trying to be realistic with all you, my listeners, my viewers now alike, in regards to what's going on with this garbage. Now, I don't know the whole story what's going on in Britain. I know there's more freedoms in Britain, more freedoms coming in France, definitely more freedoms to our friends south of us who've had the vaccines, who've had no issues with procuring and getting them out to people. But there's still this whole garbage up here too. Now, our prime minister wants to give away an additional 4 million vaccines. Okay, can we? Can we afford to? Can we afford not to? Which is it? So there's no transparency on that either too, right? Something to think about, folks. Something to really think about, right? And my apologies last week, ladies and gentlemen, for not having the Fastball Sunday. That'll be coming this Sunday for sure too. We're going to have usual panel, myself, Chris Semchuk, hopefully Adam Danny Mezei will be joining us. Hopefully he's off location. He might have a couple of days and some time to spend with us at the Fastball. I need his insight. He's a very well organized contributor. And hopefully we'll get Jilly Davis on board too. She's just recently published a book, and I'll leave a link to her book there too if I can. But follow her on Signal and on Telegram too. She's quite the inquisitive Canadian, well-versed in Canadian history, North American history, as well as some British history too. So hopefully she'll join us on this Sunday's episode, which will be fucking fantastic. And I encourage all of you to come out and join us and ask your questions. Just lay off on the bigotry statements, ladies and gentlemen. I don't tolerate that, and neither does the panel. So keep that in mind. So please pay attention to my YouTube page and my Facebook page for updates on the Fastball Sunday. Coming at you every other Sunday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'll post the links on my community page on YouTube and Facebook alike. So pay attention to that. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, it has been, well, it still is, the 15th of June, 2021. I've been Crusty Canuck. Hope you enjoyed my first outing with the visual as well as the audio, too. I'll be working on the kinks sometime soon, but just follow the link at the bottom of your screen there. Check out my shop at customizedgirl.com/s/Crusty Canuck. I've got hats, I got t-shirts, summer's coming. So all you ladies out there, get yourself a Crusty Canuck swimsuit and support the podcast, right? Support your husbands too by grabbing a nice pair of patriotic gitch, the whole I Won't Comply underwear. It's for sale now at the Crusty Canuck shop. Check it out. Like I said, I got hats and stickers. I've got some mugs, some t-shirts, some long sleeve shirts, got a jacket or two. Please check it out. Think about purchasing some Crusty Canuck swagger today. Later on, when I do more of these episodes, I'll be putting actual pictures up too. This is my first time out doing the video and podcast at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. So bear with me. And please, once again, join me on supercast.tech, censorship free, ladies and gentlemen. Just follow the link at the bottom. $5 a month gets you all of my audio episodes censorship free. So while you're working in the shop, working outside, hanging out with your friends, having a few beers, you can turn on the Crusty Nut podcast that weren't about any kind of censorship. There may be some subtle adverts, but to say the least, you get all of my podcasts. It's a Canadian-based company helping out Canadian podcasters such as myself, too. So keep that in mind, too, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want more information on the Veterans Coalition Party, just follow the link at the bottom of your screen there, veteranscoalitionpartyofcanada.com. You'll find all the information you can there, and maybe you might be a candidate. Give it a shot. We need more blue-collar people doing blue-collar things, right? Because if it wasn't for blue-collar people in this country, the factories, the grocery stores, the gas stations, the banks, right? People driving trucks, people driving the trains, loading the trains, what have you, doctors looking after those blue-collar guys who get the injuries on the job, where would we be today? Something to think about, right? Who procures the cars to drive these bigwigs to Parliament every day? Blue-collar folk, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind this coming election, too. And as always, I'll keep you posting updates on the show and what's happening around the world and in the world of Crusty Canuck, too. Just follow me on Facebook and YouTube and all that good stuff. Look for my update pages on YouTube and as well as Facebook for more information coming your way. So I'll try to get another episode out to you this week sometime, possibly Friday, maybe Saturday. And stay tuned again for us on Fastball Sunday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch, too. I include that channel as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 15th of June, 2021. Summertime's coming. It's really hot here. Last time I checked, it was about 29 Celsius. So, American friends, that's about 80 odd. So, it's hot enough, especially in this area. But it does the trick. Right? It's good enough. Considering the bitter cold winter we've had, it's about time we get a decent summer. And hopefully, we'll get some playtime, too. I'm just itching to go out scuba diving again. So, get that out of my system the best I can. So, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I always say, do what you can to help each other out the best of your abilities. Okay. And let's look forward to Canada Day, regardless of what Victoria says. Okay. I'm not going to cancel Canada Day because a handful of Victorians out of Victoria, BC just don't agree with it. They want to shut down Canada Day, and yet they want to turn around and get paid for it all the same. How convenient. Well, fuck that. You know, wave your flag proudly. I got 2 flags behind me that represent history. You know, needless to say, do what we can to help each other out. Do what we can to help each other out. Help our friends or neighbors out the best we can. You know, help a senior cut his or her lawn. Pick up some groceries. Give up a few bucks if you can. Just give your time. Do what you can to help each other at the best of your ability. Look after your friends and loved ones, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.